Hello! Hi everyone, how are you? Hi Michael. Thank,
Hello.
thank you for being here and hello everyone. Thank you for watching Unique Dream Fighter Motivation Inspiration Wednesday. Sharing is loving. There is ups and downs in our life journey. You are not alone and you're never alone. Share our story to light up our community, our artistry community. We're not just talking. Remember, what you see is what you can get. Pay attention to your thoughts and your words. Stay positive, stay hopeful, stay authentic. Today we have Michael Sasaki with us. Hello, Michael Sasaki.
Hi, Samantha. So excited to be here.
I am so very excited to have you here because your story is so inspiring and you have got so much to share to this community. And allow me to introduce Michael a little bit very quickly. Today we have Michael Sasaki with us. He's a pro figure skating coach, choreographer, and an actor. He's currently living in Los Angeles, California, coach at Toyota Sport Performance Center. When he's not on ice, Michael is an actor and he appeared in many TV shows. Michael's dream is a world where all people are respected for who they are and can feel free to express themselves just the way they are. Is that right, Michael?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially in today's world where we're seeing so many conflicts, I think it's even
Yeah.
more important for us to be able to just express what's in our hearts.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, totally. And we're about to begin with your story, with your call, with your feeling, and I added the feeling part in our story and this sharing. This feeling part is especially important because I think most of time, especially skater, we ignore our feeling because we fulfill a lot of other people's expectation. This is I just speak from my own experience. I also witnessed a lot of skater went through this path as well. If that resonate with you.
Yeah, I think, when you're So I grew up as a competitive figure skater. I started skating when I was 10 years old and immediately fell in love with it and, was on the competitive track really quick. And so I think what happens in this sport is that we get so focused on achieving our goals that sometimes we kind of put aside our feelings.
Yeah.
Sometimes we forget to pay attention to what's going on inside. And so, say you're just working really hard one season, but really not paying attention to your mental health, that can build up, and even if you have a great performance and you do well, if we're not addressing our mental health, then at some point
Yeah.
that's going to come out. So it's so important that we do pay attention to our feelings.
Totally, totally. And this is whole idea why we doing this sharing is to show our love to our community. And I can't wait, Michael. Can you start your story, who you are and what is your challenge and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I should have started off by saying bonjour, because I know you were in good old Paris, um, learning a little bit of French myself.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I was born in Monterey Park, California, and I basically stayed in the LA area. I discovered figure skating when I was, I think, 8 or so. I watched Christy Yamaguchi win the Olympic gold medal in Albertville, and I was just like, oh my god, I want to do that. And so finally, when I was 10 years old, I stepped onto the ice and just fell in love with it. And I said, this is it. This is what I wanted to do. It was really one of those kind of like finding the one,
Yeah.
kind of moment. It was really a defining moment. And then, in the next 4 years, I was able to go to the Junior Olympics. I won that competition, and it just really kind of catapulted my skating. And so after that, I was able to compete in 4 national competitions. And then after that, I retired and I went into show skating.
Yeah.
I think there was, at that time, there was a kind of a big stigma of like, oh, if you're a show skater, that means it's because you didn't make it as a
Mm.
Olympian, you know. And so for a long time I resisted doing shows, but once I started doing shows, I fell in love with it. Just performing, because I always was a performer as a competitor, you know, like whenever I would do competitions, I always like took time in the slow section to really feel the music. And so when I did shows, I just was like, this is my language. This is my
Yes.
language. This is my expression. And so I went on cruise ships and performed, you know, in many contracts on the cruises. I worked with Holiday on Ice and did some tours in France and Germany. And then I also did some shows at some theme parks. I did Ocean Park. I did Knott's Berry Farm. And then after that, I decided to start coaching because I wanted to really give, you know, skating, the love of skating and the passion of skating to the next generation. And also, too, I am an actor. I always dreamed of becoming an actor, but because I was so involved with skating, I never had time to
Yeah.
be an actor. And so now I have kind of best of both worlds, where I am coaching and really enjoying that while I'm able to still do my, you know, dream of acting. So that's kind of where I'm at now, and
Great.
it's been really great.
Wow. And what was your challenge during the whole journey? You it seems like achieve a lot of stuff and you pretty believe in your instincts, right? When you first step on the ice, you affirm to yourself, this is my ground. This is my thing. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think some of the challenges I faced, you know, I was talking a little bit earlier about when you're just so focused, you're not really paying attention to your feelings or what's going on inside.
Mm.
I think skating was also a huge escape for me. I always felt kind of different growing up. And,
Mm.
you know, at school, I think, you know, during that time, now it's a different time. The youth are so kind of forward thinking, but at
Mhm.
that time, you know, figure skating was seen as kind of like, oh, this kind of wussy thing. You know, it's kind of a girly thing. It's not football. It's not soccer. It's not baseball. You know, and in America, there is this really kind of hyper, kind of masculine kind of mentality, right? In sports specifically. And so I think I I felt kind of different from my fellow
Mhm.
peers, and also people did make fun of me for being a skater. They, you know, question whether I shaved my legs or just random things that had nothing to do with, you know, my character as a person. But at that age, you really don't think about those things. All you think is like, oh wow,
Mm.
I need to fit in. I need to be cool. And
Oh, yeah.
so I think for me, I really faced a lack of self confidence in myself as a person.
Mm.
And it's interesting because, you know, there's kind of like a duality to it. Like as a skater, I was confident, I was
Yeah.
thriving, you know, but as a person, I think I wasn't confident in myself, you know.
Mm.
And so I think the challenges of kind of battling those two
Mm.
really was challenging as I got, you know, older and I started doing more competitions. Because ultimately, you feel self conscious when you're on the ice. You know, when you, especially if you feel you're not okay, then no matter what competitions or no matter how great you are as a skater, if you don't feel okay, you're gonna somehow carry that with you. And so I think those were my biggest challenges, you know, when I was a competitor, and that's why I think doing shows was such a kind of like a haven for me because I felt like I could express myself. You know, I felt like I could just be free in who I am. And I think that's where I started to really build my own self confidence, was when I was able to fully express myself.
Right. If I go back a little bit, do you still remember your feelings when people judge you or you feel like, okay, I try to fit in what people expectation, or how were you feeling the
Oh,
moment you
yeah.
realized?
I mean, I think the feeling is that something's wrong with me.
Mm.
You know, when you are different at that age, or you feel different and people point out that you're different, I mean, your mind goes through something's wrong with me. At that age, I don't think we're developed enough to self-reflect and really embrace our kind of uniqueness that everyone really encourages us to do. I think at that age, you're still trying to find who you are. You're trying to find a group to belong to,
Yeah.
And so when you're kind of in the spotlight for being different, I think for me, I naturally felt like, oh, something's wrong with me, for being different.
And then first you try to fit in, right? Until when you can fully accept yourself during your whole figure skating journey.
I think it was towards the end of my high school. So I was 17, 18, when I finally just said, I really don't care what people think, and and I also came out during that time. And I think you get to a point where you get tired of just living for other people. You get tired of putting on, a face, and don't get me wrong, even after that, I still challenge that. I think that's just a kind of a human condition, right?
Yes.
It's a no matter what age you're in, I think we always want to belong somewhere.
Yeah.
And we fight with whether we feel that we're a part of a certain group or whether we need to pretend to feel like we're a part of the group and pretend to be a certain way in order to feel part of a group, So I would say more so now. I think in the past couple of years, I have done a lot of inner work on myself to really identify these things,
Yes.
really identify the roots of my pains and traumas. And I feel like I've been the most kind of the strongest I've been in the past couple of years, in my entire life. So it's been quite a journey, I must say.
Wow. I'm so glad you can name that feeling out, because sometimes when I ask some people, they say, I don't recall. Just doesn't feel good. But then that is very important hint for you to find out what is the next solution for yourself and what is your call to change the world if you were to change the world. If you like to change the world in a better place, like what will you do and what difference you want to make?
That's such a great question. I think I dream of a world where, when you're a kid,
Yes.
and you're playing in the sandbox, you don't think about whether that person is wearing a certain clothes or whether they're from a certain place. You just go up to them and you say, let's play, and you play and you have fun. I dream of a world where we can keep that pureness into our adult life, where we really see each other as, a fellow human, with unique qualities. And I think that starts with me. I have to live that. I have to see people with unique qualities, and also my relationship to myself. I have to see myself as unique, because,
Totally.
if I can't embrace myself, I'm not going to be able to embrace others, So I think it's truly kind of like a two-way street, working on yourself and then also helping, others as well.
Totally, totally. But that is not easy if you incorporate with this idea into your coaching. And I know you said you wanted to teach your student to have a very positive mindset. How do you add this up into your teaching?
Sure. I think for me, it's funny because I don't have any degree in psychology. I'm not a psychologist. I can only stand on the grounds of my own experience. And for me, I didn't get to express my feelings and my fears to a coach. And so for me, it's important that I identify in my students if they have fears or concerns and enable them to vocalize them. And so, for example, a lot of times skaters are afraid to fall, but they don't say they're afraid to fall. So instead they'll, pop a jump, they'll single, a jump, or they'll keep going around in circles, or, they'll exhibit the behavior of being afraid. And so then that's when I'll stop them and I'll say, hey, let's talk for a second. I feel like you're a little tentative at this moment, and they'll say, yeah, I just feel a little uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, well, what are you uncomfortable about? I'm afraid of fall. I'm like, okay. And so let's talk about falling. What does falling mean to you? And so I kind of just dissect their idea, their fear, to the point where they realize it's really not a big deal, and then they'll go and either be successful at it, or we'll find another method. So I think for me, what's really important in coaching is to be able to communicate and allow the skater to communicate what's going on. Aside from teaching technique and, choreography and all those things, I think a huge percent of skating is mental. And if the skater is not equipped with a strong mindset, then, no matter how talented you are, you're not going to perform well.
Totally. Yes, totally. Wow. When the moment you tell me that you will ask your student what's wrong with you, that really special, because I think most of the teacher or even coach, they will say, just do it. Just do it. Try. Even a parent will do it, will say that too. So raising our awareness, by knowing coaching is not only one way. Yeah,
Right.
It's not only pushy that,
right.
Of course it works. Yeah, there's a value, but again,
well, you have to know when to push. I think as a coach, you have to be so attuned to your skater's facial expression, body language. Like, you can tell when a skater is just being kind of lazy, kind of just like, oh, I don't care. And that's when you really got to push. That's the job of a coach, to really push. You can see when a skater is afraid or concerned, and that's when I think as coaches, we have the responsibility to really check in with our skaters and make sure they're okay.
Right. Do you think acting does help you a little bit as well by, expressing yourself and helping your student to express themselves as well during performance?
Sorry, if acting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I wouldn't necessarily say acting itself has helped, but I think I like to start with the premise that I'm an artist first. I'm an artist. And with that in mind, I think I try to help my skaters develop their artistry through their uniqueness. So whether that involves acting, then that's something that we can incorporate. But I like to really kind of pull from each skater's uniqueness. And I try to get a sense of what they really thrive in. Some skaters thrive in doing musical numbers. Okay, let's do musical numbers. Some skaters want to do slow and dramatic, and okay, let's do that. Let's pull from that. So I think what's really important, more so than just acting itself, I think, is to really come to who are you and how do you like to express yourself. And I think from there is born artistry that really touches people.
Totally. There's emotions, right? I still remember Antonio always tell me it's the emotion that connect people. And this is how we make people very, very unique. I really, really appreciate what you have just said, that we have to study ourselves, understand ourselves first. And what action do you take to do, in your daily life to make this voice out your dream?
Yes. Oh, wow. That's these are all really great questions. It makes me reflect on myself, and I'm asking myself, like, are you living up to these things? So I start off my day always with active meditation. I'm Buddhist. And so, I recite the mantra Nam Myoho Renge Kyo every morning and evening. It's a tool that helps me tap into my own belief in myself, in my own kind of expansive state of life, because that kind of state of life and state of mind is how I'd like to greet my day. right? Especially
Yes.
with all the things that's happening out there.
Yes.
So really,
That
it's so
inspires.
important for me to start my day with these positive affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, then I go about my day thinking, how can I create value? For example, right now I am rehearsing for a play. I will be playing a lead character in this original play about a Japanese American young man who comes out of the internment camps in World War II. And it's a beautiful story. And so for me, telling this story is an agent for change because it's a story that represents minority voices. And it's really important for me to share this story because it's so closely related to my own identity as a Japanese American. So um, for me, I have to sit down and really ponder. I have to think about, how can I relate to this character? And so what can I do to, make this character even more rich so that when people watch, they feel compelled, right? That's my way of changing the world, is expressing my true humanity. And so so then I'll go about my day working in my kind of character, researching, and then I'll go to the gym. Active fitness is really important for me.
Mm.
It's important for me for my mental health as well. And then after I go to the gym, I go to the rink where I, have a good few hours with these amazing kids who are just so encouraging to meet. And it's so amazing to see how much growth, they've had this past year, especially during the pandemic. And I, hopefully create value through teaching them in these 3 hours. And then I go after rehearsals. And then I come home and my day with some more active meditation and then go to sleep and then start all
Beautiful.
over the next day.
Beautiful, beautiful. You say everything most important. First of all, you start everything inside out,
Inside
not
out, yes.
outside in. Not like, okay, I have to do this. This is what most people do. This is what most people do. The boss tell you to do this and that. So the whole day is occupied by work. When you're doing things the other way around, you're starting to create value. And I just wrote down one sentence you just said was very, very valuable to me. When you are focused on one thing, you are creating value. When you're focused on doing that thing, why the reason I asked our guest, what action do you take? Because I want people to understand we are not complaining about the world. We're just addressing the problems. And we're addressing some minor details that we could have make these things much easier for our next generation. So we got to find out the solution, and a solution attached with action. We can't just say, okay, loads of theory, but I'm not doing any of them. So then even a daily act, it looks like simple, but it is not, because we're manifesting a dream one step by one step. This is the most adorable sharing from you, from
Thank
all,
you.
because well, we don't need a big thing, because like it's babies that make things huge, make things different. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. And also, I would like to know, you also, what kind of service do you provide? Any kind of service as well that people can stay in touch with you and learn more from you?
Sure. I have a couple of Instagram handles. One is
Yeah,
Coach Mike is ready. And then
yeah,
the other one is at Mike is ready. As you see here in
yeah.
the corner.
Right.
For me, I think what I provide, I mean, technically, I mean, or practically speaking, coaching. I teach at Toyota Sports Performance Center in
Mhm.
El Segundo, and I do jumps and spins and basic skating. I do choreography. I also do off ice conditioning.
Mhm.
I do a little bit of dance work as well. Um, and I think aside from that, I don't even want to call this a service, but just being a human friend, you know,
Beautiful.
Just
Beautiful.
here for our fellow human beings. If someone wants to chat about life, I'm here for that.
Beautiful.
So.
Wow, thank you so much, Michael. It's truly, truly beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, if you guys have not checked out Michael's bio, please go ahead. The first time when I get in touch with Michael and he shared one of the video with me, and like after a minute, I'm starting to, my tears and all that, because it's so encouraging in this difficult time. You can find human being that they value themselves and they try to voice out and make our world a little bit better with or without any reason. So people always ask me, why are you doing this so much work and all that? I said, there's no reason, because I just want to be. If you ask me this question, it's just like, why you want to be a good person? There's no reason. So
and you got to take action for that.
But yeah,
you got to take actions. Really do speak louder than words.
It does. And human could affect human. We could make change, even small change. That means a lot. And particularly figure skating coaches, we have big responsibility because they are the next generation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad we were able to chat. These conversations are so important. So
it is. And thank you all of you who have watched this, and feel free to stay in touch with Michael. And if you want to email him, please email him and follow his IG, and we will send out the replay later on. But if people want to ask questions, you have to join the group. This is the live. I'm quite new in here. You have to join this group. If some of your friends would like to ask questions, attend it live, you have to join this group. Otherwise, you can see the replay later on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Stay in touch, stay well, stay positive, stay authentic. Bye.